down. The United States is currently conducting a new round of strikes on Iran after the country attacked ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Good evening to you. Thanks for joining us here as we track all this breaking news. I'm Scott Thuman.
I'm Michelle Marsh. A months-long ceasefire crumbled within just a matter of hours yesterday. National correspondent Matt Galka brings us up to speed from our Capitol Hill bureau.
They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over.
President Trump ended the NATO summit in Turkey, declaring that the Memorandum of Understanding between the U.S. and Iran, the document that was supposed to end the fighting, is finished. The U.S. says Iran hit commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz, violating the truce. The U.S. military retaliated, striking Iranian targets in the area. NATO's Secretary General backed the U.S. in the new round of fighting.
And we've seen what happened yesterday with ships being attacked. I think it is totally crucial that the U.S. forcefully reacts.
The U.S. also reinstated sanctions on Iranian oil. The fallout meant that global oil prices started to rise again after falling to pre-war levels before the latest round of attacks. Iran's Speaker of Parliament, Mohammad Ghalibaf, said on X that the U.S. committed major MOU violations before writing, "The era of bullying and extortion is over. It leads nowhere. We don't fold." It was less than a month ago when Trump praised Iranian leadership during negotiations of the deal. Now he threatened that he might not want a deal at all.
I find these people to be much more rational than the people that are no longer with us. They're a little loco. They're a little crazy. They're not doing a service to the people. And I think more than anything else is I got to know them. And I'm not sure I want to make a deal with them.
The president said he'd allow negotiations to continue between the U.S. and Iran, even as the fighting has seemingly reignited. The two sides had set a 60-day deadline when the MOU was signed to hammer out details of the peace deal, including the future of Iran's nuclear program.
Matt, obviously this is a bit of a setback. Is there any, aside from the negotiations you just mentioned, any sign that a peace deal really can be saved here?
Well, I think that's why they're still leaving the door open for those negotiations. But that being said, the president mentioned multiple times today he is #1 on Iran's so-called kill list, suggesting the relationship between the two sides is on thin ice at best.
Yeah, at best is right. All right, Matt Galka joining us with the very latest on this breaking news from our Capitol Hill bureau. Thank you, Matt. Now, we saw some big shifts in the market this morning as those strikes overseas picked back up. This is a look at where things ended the day. The Dow and S&P 500 both in the red, but the tech-focused NASDAQ came out with some gains there.